Welcome back to episode 11 of season 48 of Survivor. We are discussing it on Reality Armchair. I'm butchering this intro. um, this is gonna be a short one. I'm just gonna go ahead and say just what we normally do. Today's theme on the wall is black for misery and shame for covering this season. We've got Jack Johnson on and on. We got MF Doom or JJ Doom, I think is his alter alias for this album. Book and EP remixes, and then Taylor Swift's Folklore, the Pun studio sessions. Only heard it once because that's a record I don't really like to play because of how much it is. And then Blurry Face by 21 Pilots. I should clarify that this is completely mine and Ariel does not associate with it.
Yes, please specify that.
Because she's a big Taylor hater, but I think that's about it. We're just gonna get straight into the episode. I'm drinking Dolly Parton Chardonnay 2023 out the bottle. Ariel's already drank most of it.
I was cleaning.
Completely rude, didn't even offer me. So I'm having just like
You were at home.
I'm having like 2 sips. She's drinking black seed oil mixed with pomegranate juice. Sounds fucking disgusting, but apparently it tastes great.
It's pretty good, actually.
So yeah, this is we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Please subscribe. Make this worth it for us finishing this season. So they get back from tribal, a very exciting tribal, I must say. Didn't really see it happening. Completely caught me off guard. Which was they all safely voted for Star. Really brave of them to really just go out swinging. And what did they say when they had to come back?
I honestly didn't even take any notes until the next morning, but it was Mary pitching that they should get Joe out to Camilla, to Mitch, and then she pitches to Kyle in the morning. But there was an interview with Mitch talking about like now is the time to make a move.
Yeah, which yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, at this point, we don't have any more days to fuck around. Now is the time to make a move, which is like, yeah, Mitch, it's been that time for a minute.
He actually said, we see the writing on the wall. At this point, we see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, they're always saying at this point, and like now is the time to do it. Every fucking episode. I think the last episode they were really harping on that idea, like this is the time to do it. I think even before that they were kind of saying that too, but they especially said it these last 2 episodes, and it's like, yeah, guys,
you guys needed to make this.
It is time to make a move. Actually, it is time, in fact, to make a move because kind of running out of options.
And Joe has an interview where he talks about how he wants to win amongst the best competitors. He said, this is exactly what I would want my kids to do, is choose the best competitors to go against. And if you win that, then you can do anything.
Horrible advice.
And it's like, this is Survivor, dude. Like, you chose these best players based off of what you see physically. They are not strategists. They do not have any gameplay. Like, you chose these guys off of them being strong and being able to win challenges. These are not technically the best Survivor competitors. It just like bothers me so bad. Like, you are not in the Olympics. That has been brought up so many times with Joe, and even wasn't it with David too?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are on the wrong thing. Go to the Olympics if you want to compete against the best physically fit people.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying.
I will say, this is completely off track, but the silver lining of watching this season is we've been watching it in tandem with the Traders Australian version.
Oh yeah.
And it's like night and day, just like how much more thought is put into that game, or thought is put into the plays that are being put on that game. And like, honestly, if we weren't watching that, I would be like completely sucked dry of just like misery of having to watch a show like this.
Did we even talk about the finale of the challenge?
I don't think so, because there was nothing to say.
It was what's their face? I even forgot their
Spoilers if
name.
you're currently watching it, but it was Adam and Steve. I predicted that they might get second, and they were pretty close. Actually, the last challenge, it was between Shane and Davon versus Steve and Adam, and it was like by seconds. It could have
It
been
was pretty
editing,
close, yeah.
but it would look like it had been seconds, and whoever won that specific checkpoint would have won the whole game. And it was like, yeah, that's kind of what Nani had been saying the whole season is like, you guys don't want to run a final with them. And sure enough, they ran a final with them and they
Mhm.
lost.
Mhm.
Only silver lining of that season was Frank crying about how shitty Sam is.
Yeah.
And I like Shane and Devon. I've kind of grew up watching Shane, and to see him finally in a final was refreshing. But back on Survivor, uh,
Then the next scene is, like, Mary hacking away on a coconut, and
yeah,
she's just
horrible,
like
horrible form. And her foot is like right there. Like it was making me a little nervous.
She wasn't quite that fast, but that was, like, the energy she was giving, and
Yeah, she was like muttering to herself,
yeah.
like, "You guys are pissing me off."
"You're voting me, and you don't wanna work with me." And then, I think probably the most fascinating, like, conversation of the game happened right after that, where Mary brings the coconut for her to eat, and Eva's like, "Wasn't that our last coconut? Like, shouldn't we have saved that? Didn't we just have a coconut?
Yeah.
We're not gonna have enough for the rest of the game." And Mary's like,
Mhm.
"Well,
Tough
you're
titties.
gonna eat at the reward, and
Yeah.
somebody's gonna win the reward. It's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna get invited to go on the reward. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck do you care?"
exactly.
It was just like,
I'm so glad. Honestly, what it would have been the cherry on the top, if she would have spit in her face and been like, "Fuck you," because really, Eva's attitude throughout this entire season towards the end is getting so much worse,
it really
and it's
is.
like, "Yeah, girl, she's gonna eat the coconuts because guess what? You're gonna get picked for every fucking reward."
And
We'll get to it, but
um, but then freaking Eva tells the rest of the group about
yeah,
it,
just like
and they're like
snarky.
mad. They're mad that she was eating coconuts,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
And no
well,
one even was like, "Well, I mean, she hasn't been picked for any rewards besides when David was on the show."
Kyle actually said she's been eating the most out of anyone.
Yeah, which
Maybe
obviously
he's just talking about at camp.
which obviously we don't get to see like who actually is eating the most, but it's like,
Wild,
yeah.
wild.
And if I was honestly Mary this last episode, I would have tore down the shelter. I would have pissed in everybody's bags. I would have thrown the machete in the ocean. I would have done so much worse.
She should have gotten pretty damn petty, like more
Yeah.
petty than this coconut stuff. Because the name of the episode comes from Camilla's interview about that, where she said it is affecting Mary's game 100% because she doesn't know proper coconut etiquette.
Even though if Mary was kissing everybody's ass, if she was offering everybody a coconut instead of her and being like, "Please have this coconut instead of me," this episode would have not been changed whatsoever.
She still would have been voted out
Yeah.
because everybody is a fucking pussy. So Kyle and I think they're because Mary pitched Joe to Kyle earlier in the day. Kyle and Camilla are talking about it. And there was actually a moment where Kyle was like, I'm not going to reveal to Mary that I am actually thinking about taking out Joe because I don't trust her. So then he goes to Camilla later and is talking about it. And I just thought it was funny the way that Camilla had her hood up and tied right here. She just
Yeah.
looked funny. But there wasn't really that much to say about
He just revealed that he's a
everything.
lawyer to her.
He did that later,
Oh, he did?
much later.
Oh, well, that was for nothing anyway.
um, but I think that was when like Kyle started going into every path that he has is going to hurt somebody, and he just like can't stand that.
Yeah, he
Like
started crying.
he's crying about it. He's talking about how intimate these conversations he's having with Shaheen, Joe, and Eva, like things that they've revealed to each other. And I'm just like, are these conversations actually worth $1 million?
Yeah. Are these people worth not having $1 million?
It's wild. It almost seems like Joe has made them forget that this is a
He's fucking
game.
brainwashed
That
them.
this is a game.
Him and David.
It's unreal. And I think that may have been why Jeff asked those questions he did at Tribal Council to remind them this is a game and you have a purpose outside of these people. that have made you feel like you owe them something.
Yeah.
But it was just wild to see Kyle struggling so much about that when $1 million is on the line. And then a boat comes.
I don't even want to talk about it. Oh my god.
A boat comes and Eva jumps out, like almost falls out of her hammock and runs down to the beach. Everybody's right there.
She reads the
She reads
letter.
the letter. One person goes on the journey. Already we know fucking Eva's going to go, and they draw rocks. Somehow she still gets the fucking purple rock and goes.
Yeah. And it's painfully like I would say it's the producer's fault or just like the director's fault of the episode. Just how they're structuring these segments because it is completely narrated by Eva in
Eva.
every painfully specific detail where it's like a good show shows and does not tell. And this
Mhm.
entire episode, especially during this reward,
It would be interesting to know exactly how much screen time Eva got.
yeah, I mean, I actually saw there's an analytic person on Twitter that has charts of everyone's interviews, how many interviews people have, and stars like at the bottom.
Yeah.
There are some people who are off the show who still have more interviews than people who are currently on the show. Um, and Eva and David are like at the top. And this episode has just been Eva, and she was narrating the entire thing. And like I said, a good this is at least for filmmaking. A good film shows and does not tell. You don't need every single detailed of what you're seeing explained to you. I get that
Mhm.
it is Survivor, it's a reality TV show, but
I don't feel like they need this much
she was
usually.
saying every
Every
single
single
thing
thing.
like, well, if I lose this challenge, it could possibly mean a threat to our team. And it's like, yeah, obviously, like we don't really need this spelled out for us. It really just made me feel like the directors or the writers of this show are just like don't have faith in its viewers and think that they're
Yeah.
dumb and that they need every little detail explained to them
Yeah.
because it doesn't seem genuine. Like it doesn't seem like Eva would naturally say these things.
I think that she is naturally saying them, which is probably, I don't know.
It feels like a producer is like, "Hey, Eva, can you describe what's happening?"
I guess.
That's what
Yeah.
it feels like because a normal person wouldn't be like talking to the viewers like they're children.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, because she was literally talking about like
every
3
s-
versus 3.
yeah,
Like she
every
did the
single detail. Like, if I lose my vote, this could be jeopardizing this trial or this jury, not jury, tribal council. Um, and it's just it was really repetitive. It was really annoying, and it was basically all for nothing. It was a complete waste of time. I actually kind of saw it as like them going on this journey. I wonder if the producers were seeing the writing on the wall of this episode and being like, "This is gonna be too boring, guys. We gotta do something. We gotta give them a bone." And they give the bone, and Eva takes it and does nothing with it because it ends up being this gimmicky circus kind of like
she had to stack tiles.
stack tiles,
But
like a House of Cards
I'm
kind of.
sure that people will argue, like, obviously they couldn't have rigged a rock draw. I don't know that I believe that. But 2, they gave her all the time in the world to get this done. Like,
It was an
all the
it
time
was an
in the world.
hourglass, and it looked like it was actually an hour.
Yeah, it was insane. She was taking so much time to do it.
Yeah,
Like, there was no way that anybody wouldn't be able to do that.
and I think when she finished, she still had like half her
She
time
still
left.
had way too long left.
Yeah.
And she could have gone for 8. It was literally her choice to not go for 8
Yeah.
8 rows.
So basically you stack these cards or these blocks 4 tiers, and once you get to 4, you keep your vote. You can go to 8 and you can get
Knowledge is power.
knowledge is power, which means nothing to her. Um
And that was when she started talking about, "Oh my god, I'm so lucky that I'm the one that came because
yeah.
I have all the power in the game, and if somebody else had gotten it, like,
Yeah.
man, what would that have meant for me? But damn, I'm so lucky
Yeah,
I'm the
thank
one
God that
here."
didn't happen. Thank God this episode was boring as fuck because that's exactly what happened. She got to 4, she contemplated going for 8. She put like 2 tiles and she's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna keep it safe. There's no point." Because like really there is no point. And what would have been great is if we saw Mary go on this and we would have saw her go the distance because she needs to. She doesn't have an option to not go for it. But no, we got Eva, and she is in the safest position I've possibly ever seen any survivor on any season of Survivor.
because the producers have handed it to her.
Yeah, and they've just casted the perfect people to just fucking take her to the end.
I mean, not only that, but, like, I think they cast her and had the idea that they would be giving her, like, handouts. That's
Maybe.
honestly how it feels
It
because
does.
they're out with the reward challenge. I haven't seen a single other one with placements for their names. Like, you sit here, like, come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so basically she just finishes. She has half time left and she's like, I'm just gonna go home. So she goes and she's like, I'm just gonna tell the truth. She tells the truth.
Because she has nothing to
She
lose.
has nothing to lose, nothing to hide. She tells the truth. She's like, don't worry, guys. I have all the power in the world, so this means
This
nothing.
Yeah, but
S
dang, you guys should have been
yeah.
there, like,
She's a
it's
good thing I
really
got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really a bummer that you didn't get it.
So she basically just goes back and is like, it was for nothing. Anyway, it was literally like
She basically said that was a waste of
it
time.
was 8 minutes, including commercials, of just a waste of time. Just a
I
complete
don't
waste of
understand
time.
why we're having an hour and a half long episodes. I really don't understand
Yeah,
it.
it was
Like,
just
there's so much in there that is not worth our time to watch.
mhm.
It just is frustrating.
But the advantage especially was just a colossal waste of time.
Mhm.
Nothing happened, no stakes. No one was, like, ever in any danger of losing a vote. It was such an easy challenge, what it seemed like. She didn't even drop once. Um, that's what I hate most about reality TV is when they waste your
Mhm.
time with bullshit like that because it's like, the fuck am I even watching for?
Yeah. I've felt so disappointed in this season, and
Which I should say, like, it is not Eva's job to entertain us. If she wants to play safe, that's totally fine, but that just kinda shows, like, how this season is going is just with this alliance, and, something that is really frustrating is that we are only getting the perspective of this alliance. Only time we ever get to see Mitch talk is when he's being talked to by someone on the alliance,
that's true.
which is like, that's fine, I don't like Mitch, but, like, can we show some other people?
Mhm.
And we'll just jump ahead to this specific moment, but they get to tribal and they're all walking in, and Jeff normally
Usually with the jury.
every single time says, and now the newest person on our jury, whoever. And this season or this episode, he just doesn't even acknowledge Star.
And
Doesn't even
Star
say,
and the camera actually didn't even acknowledge Star.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot she was even there.
it really just showed David, and I only caught a glimpse of her off to the side, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah," like
I've never and like I've never thought about it because it's so um like a natural thing for Jeff to say, and this is the next person on our jury. I've never not seen him do that. I wonder what the choice was to
I
do
don't know if
that.
he calls them out by name, but he at least says, like, "And our 5th member on the jury."
He usually does say their name, but if yeah, he'll at least say, "And our fifth member of the
Is it
jury."
5th or 4th? Was it 4th? She
Cedric,
4th? Chrissy,
Chrissy,
David,
David.
and Star? Is that it?
Yeah, so fourth.
4th member of the jury.
Yeah, so I just
But at least the camera usually, like, focuses on them walking and sitting.
yeah.
Usually you see that entire moment sitting and seeing their face, like, looking at
Yeah, seeing their normal clothing
yeah.
outside of this. Um, yeah, and it's like it's just a huge disrespect to the players outside of this alliance. Just like
It's a huge
obviously,
disrespect to Star.
yeah, to her especially. I mean, she had. I was talking about that analytical chart that I saw. She had less interviews than I forgot who it was. It was I think it might have been Chrissy or it was somebody who wasn't even on the show anymore. They were off the show. They had less interviews than somebody who is not on the show anymore. That should not happen
Mm-mm.
unless it's like I think it was Say. It was Say, and obviously Say had a
Say
lot to
had a
do this
lot,
season.
yeah.
But still, to just not really acknowledge this player is it's really weird. Um, but where are
W
we
I
at?
was gonna say that even Joe, like, kinda reacted to Eva being so blunt about, like, her journey and what
I just looked at the last few texts.
um, he was "Damn, yeah, you just say it, girl," like
Yeah, because you have nothing to hide, nothing to
yeah.
lose, nothing to sacrifice.
It was just kinda funny. It was just, like, a moment of, like, I think you guys forget kind of how, um Can I say this without being offensive?
That she's autistic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, in those moments, it's like, yep.
yeah, and she got so lucky applying on this season. It's like it's honestly working for her.
Yeah, and so then Mary pitches to Shaheen about getting out Joe. She just keeps pitching to pretty much every single person that she can. And Shaheen is basically like, no,
Nah, I ain't trying to hear all that.
nah. And he actually says that he thinks he can beat Joe. He's like,
He says I've been
yeah,
playing a better game than
Joe
Joe.
seems like he's the front runner, but I think I could win
He
against
says he's
Joe.
played a better game, which is not true. He has
No.
not won a single immunity.
Mm-mm.
He has not done anything for the Alliance besides vote with them. He hasn't done a single impressive thing. He has not built a single shred. Like he has not.
You haven't done anything, Shaheen.
He has no resume.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Which the entire 4 are forgetting,
Yeah.
except for Kyle.
Kyle's the only one with the resume. He actually made a blindside move.
I think that Joe would claim David as his resume.
Which he shouldn't. But Joe's resume is that he wins immunities. Is what his resume is. Eva's is that she just has the fucking game handed to her. But yeah, Shaheen actually says he actually has the gall to say that he has played a better game than Joe, which is just factually not true.
Not true.
No one has played really a better game than Joe and Eva at this point. Like they have really set themselves up to make it to that final 3. And honestly, at this point, I don't see them not being at that final 3.
I don't either.
I think it's either going to be Shaheen or Kyle at that 3rd spot, but it's 100% going to be Joe and Eva at that last spot, or those two spots.
Yeah. So then it was the immunity and reward challenge, and their reward was actually sushi.
Not gonna lie, if I were on the show, that would get me bricked up, and that would like get me foaming at the mouth.
I would be literally begging.
I would literally cry. I would be. Who was it that one season where Q won the reward?
It was that one girl
with the glasses.
Yeah.
I would have been like her. I would have been. I fucking hate y'all. I've been starving, and I even if I was eating really good back at camp, I would say that I'm starving and that I need this because sushi on an island. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's the best reward I've ever seen.
I think I've never seen. I don't think I've seen sushi.
Even though I don't think they even ate sushi on the reward.
I didn't really see them eat actual sushi.
It was like a sushi burrito thing, like a taco, like a seaweed taco thing.
I'm sure it was good though.
But it was like seaweed, chocolate cake, teriyaki chicken, just like, you know, good stuff. I would be excited.
But the challenge was wheelbarrow these pots balancing on top over balance beams and then over like humps, and then they had to stack a word. They had to decipher a word out and then stack it in an arch,
which is a Survivor classic.
Yeah. And Joe claims first, and he, what was the word that he
confidently blurts out? It's
the
like
stupidest thing.
It was 3 words. It was 3 words.
They weren't even spelled right.
Yeah, betrayal was betrayal was spelled.
Be fun betrayal.
Be fun for betrayal. Be fun betrayal. And it's like, bro, no wonder you're a firefighter. Like that
that's really embarrassing.
Yeah. And then I think Shaheen spells. No, not Shaheen. I think Shaheen spells it wrong. He spells a word wrong.
I think it was actually Kyle next. He had just a few letters off.
Well, no, but they show. No, I'm not talking about who actually makes it to like who actually builds the entire thing. But they're showing everybody who's building, and everybody is spelling it wrong. Even Mitch, who's a fucking teacher, he spells. I think he spells. Isn't it unforgettable?
Who?
No, the word.
Yes.
So I think he spells unforgettable, but also he spells it wrong.
Yeah.
Shaheen spells a completely different word.
It was really sad to see all these
Mary didn't even make it to the puzzle. And so it was basically between Joe and Camilla. Kyle was he actually built the puzzle, but he had 2 words mixed up.
2 letters.
2 letters. So it was neck and neck between Joe.
Camilla actually built it up, and then she lost it all on her last one.
Yeah.
And then by the time she got there again, Joe actually beat her, but then Jeff was like, "Oh wait, you have it wrong. Camilla wins."
Yeah, and he says, and Joe, he's like, wait a minute,
Wait,
I'm dumb as fuck.
I'm
I'm wrong. Joe spelt it wrong.
yeah.
And yeah, it was
good to see
good
Camilla
to
win.
see.
I also wrote that at the beginning when they're all deciphering this word, Jeff totally blows up Camilla's spot.
Yeah, she's like,
He's
what,
like,
what did he say?
"Look to Mitch and Camilla, they're getting it."
He said something
He
like
was like,
that. And they all look at her puzzle.
yeah. I was like, dude, what?
And then Kyle gets it wrong.
And he's telling them all the word.
And then Jeff is like, you got to make sure it's bright on both sides. And Kyle doesn't even pick it up. Eva has to tell her or tell him that it's wrong, or that he has to look at both sides. So Jeff, shut the fuck up, bro.
That was definitely a fumble. I was just like,
yeah, because
Joe, what?
Joe would have never gotten there, I don't think.
Yeah, that was really annoying. So then Camilla chooses for who's going to go on the reward with her. And she chose Mitch because he hasn't eaten like hardly anything.
I hate Mitch. I made it very clear I don't like Mitch.
I wasn't like
I wasn't mad at the
hating
choice.
on that choice.
I wasn't hating it.
And then I thought that it would be down to Mary and Kyle for the second choice. And what the fuck does Camilla do? Choose Eva. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, this child is the golden child. Like, why is she being chosen for every single reward? Has she literally gone on every single reward?
She is in the running to maybe Survivor history of getting on the most rewards. I've never seen somebody on this many rewards.
I actually feel like she's been on every single one.
I would say she's at least been on all of them except for maybe one, but I could be wrong, and she could have been on every single one. Yeah, I don't even have words anymore for this.
I was just like, I actually yelled.
Yeah, I really was not expecting. I mean, at my heart, I was like, I feel like she might pick Eva, but
I didn't even think that.
It doesn't even make any sense. And she does explain herself. When she
explains it, it still doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense because she's like, well, I just want her to keep her at ease, make sure she's super comfortable.
And then
for nothing, for absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, Camilla really.
And the reward, they just say, we're getting out Mary. You know, maybe we could have worked with Mary, but she's a fucking coconut eating bitch. And she shouldn't have basically made her bed. And it's like, all right, guys, cool. But can we move on now to people who are on the island? And oh, guess what they're doing on the island? They're sleeping. They're fucking sleeping.
Shaheen's like singing this song.
He's singing a song. Oh my god,
somber song.
The amount of singing on this season, I don't understand.
I think it's because of
honestly,
Shaheen.
This feels like a season full of theater kids, is what it feels like, and it's fucking pissing me off.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, that's the episode pretty much.
Well, and then Kyle shares that he is loyal with Camilla
to build trust.
And they're just saying like they just want one of them on the final three.
Or in the final which three. If I'm Camilla, I'm like, no, I don't want one of us. I want me.
I want me.
Yeah.
How about both of us? You know, like.
Which is, I feel like Camilla in that moment was like, I think I see the writing on the wall, and I think I see where this is heading. Mm-hmm. As long as you're there, I'm happy. Which is, it's sweet.
It is sweet, but it's like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
And also, Kyle doesn't have the balls to get the person out that he needs to behead to get to the final.
She actually walks away from that conversation and is like, oh, I know that me and Kyle are going to make a move on Joe. She actually said that. She said that. And spoiler alert, they do not.
At least not in this episode. I guess we'll see them try to.
Guys, don't worry. Next episode will be the right time to do it. That will be the time to do it. Yeah,
that's the time to do it.
That'll be the time to strike.
Are just losing all these numbers that we could get against Joe.
When Eva already said for sure, 100%, I'm using my idol, no matter what next episode.
Yeah.
And if I win, then Joe is getting my idol.
And I actually thought that this may not be the episode to get Joe out. Like, yes, Joe wins most of the immunities, but
Eva still has these
advantages. And right now she feels so safe. Like, let's blindside Eva and get these advantages out. Like, she hasn't handed them out, and she would have had to walk away with both of them in her pocket. and then they'd just be out of the game.
Yeah, would have
I
been
just didn't
great.
understand why Eva's name didn't even come up at all for an option, but either way, it didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, so pretty much the whole episode past the reward or the challenge is just like, let's just make sure they're super comfortable. And then Mary just completely fucks it up because she says, you know what, Joe, I'm just gonna write your name down. You know,
She
I
makes Joe go on a panic trip,
yeah,
and
he's tweaking.
he's like, I'm considering throwing out another name in there so that I'm not the one that gets voted out. And then both Kyle and Mitch are like, are you writing our name? Like,
Yeah,
what are you saying here? Like, and then Joe's acting like, you guys are all supposed to support me to get to the final and win. Like,
yeah,
he's acting like, you called it the Joe show. Like, he absolutely is seeing it like that. Like, it's the Joe and Eva show, but he's ultimately going to win over Eva. I think even in his head, he's like, I'm
yeah.
winning this.
Which it looks like he probably is.
I out of spite, I just wouldn't because
Vote for him.
he didn't play a game. Like,
Nobody played a game except for Kyle and
I
Camilla, and
guess
they're
it
not
depends on
even.
who's in the final, but like, come on.
Yeah, I would say the only way I would ever vote for Joe if I was on the season, if it was Mitch and Eva next to Joe. I would definitely not vote for Mitch. Definitely not vote for Eva.
I think I would still vote for Mitch over
Fuck Mitch.
Joe.
I hate Mitch. He is literally done nothing this entire season.
Well, neither has Joe,
He's at least winning immunity challenges, which
I
I will say
guess.
these immunity challenges are catered to him.
You wouldn't be like choked up by Mitch's story.
No, I wouldn't. No, I would not. Honestly, I would be like,
You have to
bro,
think of yourself as a jury member, though.
I am. I would be like, what did you do in this? What did you do? What the fuck did you do on this
And all
season?
Joe can say is, I voted off that guy with the hard nipples over there.
Which is more than what Mitch did. He's literally done zero. He's made zero impact on this show, on this series.
Yeah, I guess.
He has no footprint on this show. He's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that goes for pretty much 99% of the fucking cast on this season.
Yeah, that's true. None of them really have a resume.
So I'd be like, well, at least you won the immunity challenges, and I would say Joe is more likable. I mean, I think it's different between us seeing his interviews compared to Joe's interviews. I would say Joe's more of an. I wouldn't say he's actually more likable, but I just don't like the way Mitch speaks sometimes. Not like the way he speaks, but just like
I think there's been glimpses
of him
of
being
a man I don't
of
like.
a diva, a little bit of a
Yeah.
diva. Like when he said, "I'm not gonna work with Star," that's a complete joke. Like, all
Yeah.
right, bro, chill.
That was harsh.
Yeah, it's like, bro, chill.
Yeah. When that
So
was like, you could have made a move there.
yeah, you guys could have worked
You could have
together
just like
and done something. So
gotten with this person that you didn't trust and made
which
it
is the
through.
point of
And yeah,
Survivor.
exactly. Just so ridiculous.
So I have no respect for Mitch as a Survivor competitor. I'm sure he's a very sweet man back home. I'm sure he's a great teacher. Everybody loves him. Favorite teacher. I don't like him on Survivor. He's not a good Survivor player. He's made zero impact on the show.
Most of these people are not good players.
As soon as the season ends and we're on to the next season, I will forget Mitch as a person. That's just how it's going to be. He'll have zero impact on my viewing experience, which is fine. That's not what he's here to do, but that's just how it ended up
Such a
being.
hater.
I'm a huge Mitch hater. If I had a shirt
I'm
pertaining to the
pretty
season,
much an Eva hater. Like,
I hate Eva too.
can't stand her.
I
Like,
think
this attitude of like, I'm getting to the end, no question.
yeah, like
I am pretty much on top of this game. Like, that whole like, do I really want to be greedy here and get even more power? Like,
nah, I don't need it.
I don't need it. I'm good. I'll just play it safe
Yeah,
for my
and
alliance.
she could have gone for it, lost, and she could have said, you know what, um she could have said the exact same story. Tribal would have gone exactly the same way. She could have had the
Yes.
power.
Yep.
So I guess we'll just skip to the tribal.
Well, yeah, we're at the tribal council, and
David is mean mugging everybody.
yeah,
He
looks fucking ridiculous.
He has a
in
backwards
this
cap on. Looks
gray
like
wife beater tank.
looks like Jigsaw. And he's like really pronouncing his jaw. Like he's
Yeah,
like
he's like,
he's like really like emphasizing on his jaw and just like he's like sitting like this and
yeah,
he's like squinting.
Trying to be intimidating.
He looks like Clint Eastwood. He's like squinting all the time.
Ridiculous. And then Jeff ends up asking, like, why are you guys, what's your reason for being here? Like,
Yeah.
what's your why? And makes them all start talking about their why, and then they all have,
only 3 people talk, and it's the 3 people with like the most
parents.
to say. Yeah, like Mary and Shaheen have immigrant parents who came from their country to Camilla. So all 3 of them. I don't know if actually Mary.
I think most of them sitting there on the rest of the players have immigrant parents.
Yeah, we actually, well, Ariel mentioned it. She's like, is Eva the only?
Eva's the last
only white person. And
which is like, I think that's pretty different than other seasons, which is awesome to see. And even like the last tribal council, I didn't notice it, but like Star was there. She was the one that got voted out. So like Eva's been the last white person for a while.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. Like,
I would say from jury, the last white person before that was David.
Yeah.
Which wasn't that long ago. I was actually gonna say Chrissy, and then I forgot about David. I was like, oh, there's David. So yeah.
So a lot of them have like things in common with each other.
Yeah. And they actually talked about it when they did the mini merge. And it was kind of one of the standout moments from that episode.
Camilla, Shaheen, and Joe.
Yes. And they were talking about,
and Kyle.
They were talking about their parents, I think specifically their dads, just how much they had to work and all that. Very heartwarming stuff. Cool.
Wish that would have actually bonded you guys more than it truly did.
And then I just feel like Jeff was just salivating at the fucking mouth, just
that
hearing
they were crying. And
he's like, this is great television.
He really does like give himself all the accolades on the podcast. Just like, yeah, I really just like feel it out. I ask the questions based off of vibes, and sometimes I just really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, he's like, I just want to see them cry about their background so we can show footage of their parents. And that's how I view Joe or like Jeff in my mind.
Is getting 2 TV producers.
He's becoming more of a producer on the show than he is the host of the show.
Yeah, and I'm not liking that. I'm really not liking that. I think this season alone has shown me they're really starting to produce this show, and I'm not about that. So not about that. But so then all this like talk about who are we gonna vote out? Bullshit.
Complete bullshit.
And it's Mary. Like literally, I think every single person voted for Mary. The TV cut off, but like we didn't, or the recording.
Yeah, we watched on YouTube TV.
But I assume that he would have put out more Joe votes had there been more. So I think every single person voted for Mary except for Mary, obviously.
Yeah, and then highlight of the episode for me is when David gets up, hits one of these like he's at a funeral, and he's just like, complete silence. He says nothing.
I mean, he can't say anything.
Are you not allowed to say anything?
I don't think the jury's allowed to say anything.
I don't know what possessed him to stand up and do that and hit that pose.
Because he thinks it's respect for his woman.
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking.
So weird.
Everyone was laughing at him.
Star was laughing, and then everybody on
Camilla was laughing.
All the players start laughing.
Shaheen was laughing. I mean, they weren't like audibly laughing, but they're just
like smiling, like what is happening right now?
Because he looks ridiculous.
He looks absolutely ridiculous.
He looks so ridiculous.
As his nipples just like get harder and harder, just standing there, just like, dude, what the fuck? You get to talk to her in like 3 minutes. Like, calm the fuck
exactly.
down.
I feel like this next jury, when he shows up, he's gonna have a big old smile on his face because he's sitting next to Mary. Because this entire time he's been on the jury, he's just been like complete, like dead eyes, just like.
He's probably gonna sit there with the same face and be angry for himself and
he's like trying to intimidate everybody.
I think he is.
And it's like, bro, you lost.
I think it's over. At the end, do you think that he's actually gonna have something to say to these players?
Absolutely. His question, when he has a question to ask for them, he's like, so how do you guys feel about loyalty?
Yeah.
And how has that affected your game? It's like, bro, You give up. You've lost. It's over. Pack it up.
There was actually that moment where Mary was talking about there is no reward for being loyal.
Yeah.
Like there is not
out-loyaled.
There's
no, it's outwit, outsurvive, and outplay, not out-loyaled.
Outplay, outwit, outlast.
Outlast, not out-loyaled. So yeah, that was the episode.
Pretty much.
Legitimately, the highlight of the episode was David standing up and looking like a fucking clown.
Yeah.
Everything else is just complete waste of time. Complete waste of time.
And I am curious how the next episode is going to go, but I'm just kind of like that looks like it's just going to be either Kyle or Camilla's getting voted out next episode because of their shenanigans that they're playing. Like, yeah, but I guess we'll see. Maybe
I'm starting to lose faith in them because they're always talking that
they keep talking about stuff and then they're
every like coming next on Survivor, it's always showing Kyle and Camilla being like, all right guys, now is the time to make the play. And it never happens. Nothing ever happens from it.
I did want to ask, like, okay, so why did they think that now is not the time? Like, why in the world would they not go after Joe right now? In their minds, what would that have done? Do you have any idea? Like, obviously, Eva would just be, like, torn up. Shaheen would be mad at Kyle. It would
I don't even think... I think Joe... If Kyle had talked to Shaheen, it would have happened. Because I feel like Kyle is worried about Shaheen more than he is worried about Eva.
Potentially.
Because, obviously, if he blindsides Joe, Eva's going to hate him no matter what. And honestly, how I look at it, if I was on the show, if I was Kyle in that position... I would be like, I can't blindside Joe, but he's not gonna get my vote for jury, or I'm not gonna get his vote for jury.
Mm-hmm.
And if Eva goes out, I'm not getting her vote for jury. Mm-hmm. So I might as well just keep playing the loyal game and hope that my story is better than Joe's story. Because if he backstabs, I feel like the only person he would gain a vote for backstabbing would be from Kyle or David, because he's so bitter about what Joe did to him. But yeah, I mean, I think there are enough people on the jury that would appreciate Kyle blindsiding David, but I think he might be worried about David's vote. He's worried about jury management.
He's worried about David. And if he did vote out Joe, obviously Eva would be in there somewhere. So I guess he would be realigning himself with Camilla, Mitch, and Mary.
Yeah, Mary, because she wouldn't have gone home.
The four of them. So,
and I mean, they could have gotten Shaheen. I think Shaheen is more on the fence about this alliance, and it actually showed in the sneak preview. Like, it did seem like him and David were kind of going at it a little bit, or him and Joe were going at it a little bit.
Because I feel like you didn't really watch.
Why?
Because it literally shows that Kyle goes to Joe and says, "Don't freak out," but Shaheen flipped. And then it shows that Kyle and Camilla are planning this. Like, they are acting.
Well, yeah, they said we gotta act.
Shaheen is like, "Joe, you're acting like I shit in your waffles."
Pancakes, but yes.
In your pancakes.
But yes.
And so then there's that moment.
Which I've never heard anybody say, but I've heard some people say, like, did I piss in your cereal? But, like, shit on your pancakes? That's pretty... vivid, or like, that's such a weird thing to say.
I'd be pretty mad about that. But so then there's that moment of Joe, I think, probably talking to Eva, being like, well, what if this is bullshit? And if it is bullshit, where's it coming from? Well, so that's where I'm like, I think it's just gonna end up with Kyle and Camilla.
And what's the point? Shaheen is no threat.
Yeah, I don't.
He gets up there and he's gonna say, guys, look.
Maybe their plan is to get Shaheen to vote Joe out.
It's a terrible plan because
if they turn Joe and Shaheen against each other, then Shaheen will be more willing to vote Joe
and they've actually been plotting on Shaheen for a minute.
For so long.
I think like 4 episodes. They were like, they had a clip where they're like, we're planting seeds on Shaheen to make him seem more untrustworthy or something like that. Or we're trying to frame Shaheen. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Camilla says, we're framing Shaheen.
We're framing Shaheen.
Nothing came from that.
Absolutely.
Now we're back on trying to get Shaheen out. It's like, why? Like, literally, what has he done?
But maybe it's not to get Shaheen out. Maybe it's just to get Shaheen
I don't
willing to
know.
vote
I
for
think they're playing
Joe.
sloppy at this point, and
They are.
I have no faith in them. I could see them being like not seeing the big picture, and obviously we have more context because we're watching the show. But I could see them being like, well, actually, Shaheen's the bigger threat, so we should get Shaheen out.
I don't
But
think that they would think that. I don't think so. But I guess we'll see.
we will see. We'll be here next week to bitch about another episode of Survivor. There's really only so many ways we can complain about um, how the direction of this show is going, specifically this season. And
I'm sorry you guys have to hear about it.
yeah,
But
that's just how we feel.
yep. And I know a lot of people are like saying, "Don't hate on this season. This is what we've been asking for." But
Nobody's
I
asked
think
for this. Who the fuck has asked for this? Beat him
I don't
with a
know.
bat.
I think it's more like new viewers or people
Maybe.
that don't actually know how to play
I
Survivor.
never asked for this. I don't know who asked for this. They need to be taken out back because this is a horrible season. This is the
Mhm.
worst season, I think, of any competitive. I don't want to go that far, but
It's the worst season I've seen of Survivor in a long time.
it's
Long
it's the
time.
worst season of Survivor I've seen. Period.
I think yeah, I think it's pretty close to
But
that if not the
it is
worst.
one of the
Yeah.
worst seasons of a competitive reality TV show I've seen in a long time.
I don't know. The last season of the challenge was pretty rough. I did not like that.
There was still more going on.
I should say the challenge. What is it called?
All Stars.
All Stars. I don't
Yeah.
like those seasons.
Yeah, I don't really either. The main show is actually more interesting, but even that season pissed me the fuck off. But I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Like I said, we will be here next week.
Follow us on social medias.
Social medias, I'll
Pink
put it.
Ember Media and
Pink.
everything.
Yeah, we've got the ad for everything, luckily. So yeah, do you have any closing remarks?
Good night.
Good night.